Toasty, you need to go lay down now for me. Come lay down. Good girl. All right. Hi there, everybody. Everything looks good to go. Okay. So, hi there, Michael and Mina. Hi, Barbara and Vicky. Hi, Steve. We're doing well, thanks. Hope you are as well. Hi, Night Owl. Awesome. Okay, so tonight we are going to be doing a beginning project of this adorable little cowboy pig. On Friday night, we had talked about some different ideas for our next project. And I know that there was a pig recommended. There was also some cowboy boots and a cowboy hat and some other things recommended in there. So I put together some options, and the lovely community over at Mighty Networks, our bear den, they voted on the piglet. So that is what we're going to be doing today. And I thought it would be helpful to kind of combine some of the things that we talked about, as far as not just doing only a pig, but let's also put in the cowboy boots and hat as well. So that's why we are burning a cowboy pig tonight. Hi, Rhonda. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is sand this down lightly. I think I want to go with a little bit more of a cartoony aspect to this one. So we're going to be starting with the mini flow point. Sounds good. And I'll just, come on, we have not, wow, he's stuck. Okay. So we are going to be working with the mini flow point, and I don't need to be that big or in the way. Whee! Okay. Hi, June. Welcome. Glad that you can be here tonight. We are going to make a beginner level cowboy pig. So a lot of times with beginner based projects, we do a little bit more outlining, because that's just what beginners generally tend to do, and it creates a neat style as well. So we have the mini flow point here, and I might zoom in a little bit for you. Oh. And see what we can do here. Okay. And I'm still kind of in the way. I'll go down here for a bit. Oh, I'm hiding under the button. All right, there I am. We'll get it. All righty. So to begin with, I'm just going to gently outline some of our basic features here. And we don't have to press down really, really hard. Thanks, Barbara. Yeah, I'll just be right in the middle for right now. I'm going to start with the basic bigger shapes. And then within the pig, we'll also make a little bit of the lighter line work with the shading point. So I hope that everybody had a really nice weekend. Hi, Laura. Hi, Peanuts. Welcome. Alrighty. We are gently outlining our cowboy pig. Cowboy piglet. He looks kind of young. Alright. So I know that we talked about some of the hummingbirds. I know you guys can hear them in the background. And I posted a video of the hummingbirds here at our place on Mighty Networks. and it's amazing. We have 7 or 8 feeders out every day, and we refill all of them, some of them more than once. So we kind of did some calculations as far as the fact that hummingbirds only drink 1 to 2 teaspoons of nectar a day, and we're putting out 35 to 40 cups of nectar a day, and we've calculated that we're feeding about 700 hummingbirds every day. So they are just loving it. It's so dry here, so we're trying to help them out. Peanuts said you purchased a Coalwood burner and it shipped today. Oh, that's awesome. I hope that you love it. Barbara, yes, we mix our own nectar, absolutely. We were looking online. I think I was getting more hummingbird feeders, and I came across them selling hummingbird nectar on Amazon, like $10 for a half a gallon of nectar. So that was pretty crazy. We'd be broke for sure if we bought pre-made nectar. And there's another question up there someplace. Barbara, yes, I did get the zipped file of Bernie photos. Thank you. I haven't been able to do anything with them yet, but thank you for sending those. And it's a little frustrating for me when you guys, just on my part, my email, when you guys send me an email, it won't let me reply back to you. And so if you don't hear back from me, sometimes I did send it and my email kicked it back. So I need to reroute and choose a different email address to answer you with. I don't know why, but Gmail accounts, if you have a Gmail account, it does not like my wood burning email. You can send me emails, but I can't send them back to you. It bounces for some reason. Peanuts, yes, I would be very anxious as well. That sounds fun. It's always great to get more art supplies. I think it's great. Okay. So I don't think I want a heavy outline around his head. Just I want to soften that up a little more. So we'll jump up here. Boy, we have a lot of wildfires around here. Unfortunately, we have several that have blown up right around us. They're a little ways off, and the wind doesn't usually, pull them to us from where they're at, so we should be okay, but very smoky here of late. Hi, Estella. Barbara, you did put the photo of Bernie holding the tip sign on Facebook. Ah, okay. Alrighty. Thank you for adding that. That's fantastic. Alrighty. So let me know if we have any questions here as we're working on this. So I'm going to not outline everything, but I'm going to do some strategic sections here and there. Places where I think it would be pretty good. Got a little bit of a shadow there. Sorry about that. Okay. Hi, Desiree. Alright, I think we do want to kind of outline the bigger items like the scarf and the jacket. And feel free to mix this up as far as if you want to do any outlining or if you just want to do shading and what areas you want to outline. It's totally up to you. Whew. Okay. has been pretty toasty here as well. Vicky is asking, are you not outlining the head because of it being kind of white on white? I just think that a harsh outline around his head right now with this point is going to be maybe a little bit too intense. He's got like little tufts of fur kind of on the outer edges, and I think I want to make it just a little softer. I'll probably still do outlining, but with a different tool, and make it much lighter. And you can pick and choose where you put in the outlines. You don't have to follow what I'm doing. You can outline everything if you want. That's totally fine. Okay. You're welcome, Vicky. Right. Okay, let's do the belt next. Porky Pete the Prairie Ham. Barbara, that's hilarious. Porky Pete. Aw, that's very cute. Okay, next we'll put in the outline of the boots. And over. Okay, so that is looking pretty good. I think I might want to outline a little under the chin, because it'll be more in shadow. Okay, so even though we're kind of approaching this from a beginner standpoint, if I go ahead and I outline all of the rest of the guidelines on here with the same point, he's going to look pretty flat and not as interesting. So I am going to switch to the shading point, and then we'll do a little bit more outlining here and there, but with a much softer, lighter kind of touch. Steve, do you have room at the top to add the pig's name? Oh, maybe. I don't know. We could maybe put it over here, kind of in the side area. So now I'm working with the shading point, and I'm going to do an outline again, but it'll be much softer. It's not going to be as bold or dark of a line. And you can put in some little hair strokes there if you want. You don't have to. Okay. Oh, we probably ought to get those eyes in there too. Let me zoom in because those are kind of tiny. Let's see. That ought to work. Okay, so we have a little bit of a highlight in the center of each eye, and when I transferred on the image, I made sure I made those highlights extra big, because when we outline highlights, it's easy to kind of lose them and they all get burned away. Most of the eye is just very dark except for that white highlight. We do have a little bit of kind of a edge to the eye right there on the outer edge. And then once we outline our specifics, we'll go ahead and block it in. And I don't want to spend too much time there because it's going to possibly kind of overburn or get some ghosting in that image, of that area of the image. Now I'm going to jump over to here. And we'll just block them in there. So he's got a little bit of highlight on each eye. Next we have the nostrils. They're going to be darker towards the top. So you can almost put in a little bit of a crescent shape there. And we want it to be darker towards the top. Fill in the bottom. And then just pull that gradient down slightly so it stays darker at the top. And it looks like on the screen it's just solidly filled in, but I like to add a little extra depth there. We have this cute little face and mouth. Barbara, this would be fun with color. I agree. Peanut says if you let the wood cool down and then come back to it, will it still overburn? You'll be much better. You'll be much better off to just let that wood cool down, and then yes, you can go back and burn more layers. Yeah, Lisa, I can zoom in a bit. Whee! Alrighty. So I'll try to get the reference in there as well. You know, if I had scissors. More tape. Yeah, a lot of times I will burn an area like eyes and then give it some time so it doesn't get so hot, and then I'll come back and burn it again. So layering is very good. All right. Now I don't want this to be super complicated here. We're just going to lightly outline some of the main features on his piglet face. And we have a little bit of fur strokes right there, and then some up and around the eyebrows. And then we can start working on the inner ear. Laura, what size piece of wood is this? This is a 5 by 7 inch piece of wood. Okay, so the ear is going to be darker on the inside, and then we're just going to kind of pull that gradient outward ever so lightly. And then we can pull a gradient in from the outer edge as well. And we're darker underneath the hat. And I know I'm going to want to turn the wood on this one, but I'll keep going here as best I can. Barbara says your cat loves to watch the live streams. Aw, that's really sweet. Okay. So we're going to do a little rounding of his face. Mina, his squishy belly is your favorite part. I like that too. He's pretty cute. Little shading on the upper side of each nostril and a little down here. Add a touch around the nose. Just all over that nose, I think will help. See about turning this really quick. Kind of hold it in place. Maybe not. Not cooperating. Okay. He is very cute, Barbara. I agree. Okay, we'll burn a little bit on the inside of the ear. And yeah, I did. I kind of just pulled that gradient across the ear. And a little bit at the top. Okay. He also has a little bit more rounding for the cheeks. Hi, Jenny. Let's see. Jenny is asking, because of what thing you started wood burning? Why did I start wood burning? I actually was trying to do some wood carving a long time ago and couldn't really see my carving look very well. So I thought, well, if I burned over it, it might look better. It still didn't turn out very good, but I fell in love with wood burning and realized that there was a lot of potential for it, and I've been teaching myself ever since. Little shading up and around the eyes. Okay, and then I'm going to kind of pull some of the shading down here as well. And we can kind of come back to his face. Oh, we forgot his chin. And we can kind of come back here in a little bit if we need to, because I'm burning pretty quickly. I'm not worrying about smoothing out the lines or anything. I'm moving pretty quick on the piglet. And then he's got like this cute little shading under the chin here. Okay, so So we can kind of come back to that a little bit later. Let's move up to the cowboy hat a little bit. We have a couple little nubbins here. And then just a little swoop right in here of shading, kind of comes down. Another swoop right here, pull that down. And then we're going to blend it over towards the center of the hat where it's going to get lighter. And a little swale up there too. So I'm putting this in pretty quickly here just because I don't know how long I have on, like how far we're going to get on the live stream. So I'm going to put in more of the main areas and then we can go back and blend them out. Hopefully we'll have time to do that. Okay, so put a nice light line under the rim of the hat. And next we're going to burn the shadow under the hat. It's going to be the darkest right here where it meets his head. And then we're going to slowly start getting lighter as we get towards the top. And then if you want another layer, you can go back and kind of darken up this lower part a little bit more. Kind of like that. Okay. Next, we're going to do the same thing over here. Darker where it meets his head. And the piglet needs to be darkened up a little bit more as well. And then we're just going to pull that gradient up. And that's really all that shading is just think about a gradient from light to dark. Okay, and then we'll darken it up a little bit again with another layer. Layers are super helpful with wood burning. Okay, and this section in here is still kind of light. I just can't get quite the angle that I need to here. Alright, so the headband I am going to burn a little darker, but I'm going to leave a light section at the top right there, and then one down here at the bottom. And that'll just give us a little bit of interest with our headband. Kind of like it's got a beveled edge or something to it. Okay, and then to make things look rounded, we want darker on the edges, lighter in the middle, and then darker over on this side. Just pull that gradient over. Night Owl. Yes, it could look weathered as well. Very good. Alrighty. I think I'm going to go ahead and do one more layer on this hat. So I'm using just really short strokes. This is kind of small, so I gotta get in the tight little areas here. So I am operating the burner on full temperature, but you'll see me kind of blowing on the point to cool it down. That works really well, or just turn the burner down if that gives you more control. And we're going to darken a little more along the edges to get that nice rounded look to our hat. Okay, so that helps. Mr. Piglet needs some more shading, but we're going to come back to him here in a little bit. And let's work down on his fancy little outfit. Oof. So the bandana has quite the pattern on it. I don't think that I'm going to put all that in just because it'll be kind of a little bit confusing. So we'll lightly put in some of our guidelines here. And then I think about where the light might fall. So if this is kind of rounded, we'll have a shadow down here, and it'll kind of pull upwards. And then we're going to have a shadow probably under here, and it's going to pull upwards. And you can just kind of have fun with this. If the shading kind of bothers you, you're not sure what to do, just go ahead and throw in some light outlines, and that should be just fine. Hi, Cynthia. Oh, you got all your critters taken care of. Good, good, good. Glad to have you here tonight. Okay, so just a couple little layers there. Just think about how it might fold and where your dark values would show up. Lisa says that's one of the things I've learned from you recently, that using my artistic eye to not add every detail has changed the way you look at patterns. Awesome. Yeah, that is very cool. It's totally up to you as far as what information you put into a project. Sometimes less is more. You know, sometimes we want all the details, and sometimes we want something in between. All right, so around our buttons we go. Just using that upper tip of the shading point, we have buttons. Now his shirt is kind of plaid, and I know that we talked about doing something plaid as well. So in this instance, we can't burn in the white lines. So all that we are going to do is burn in the dark squares, and it will create the illusion of plaid. And I can kind of show you some other little things there to add in as well here in a minute. So we are just going to block in our tiny little squares. They can be a little darker on the outer edges where it tucks under the coat, but we want everything right in the middle near his belly to be a little bit lighter. And try not to pass out if you're blowing on the point like I'm doing. Okay, so there is one side. Let's do the other. Okay. And my throat's really dry. Hi, Larson. All Alrighty, so now that we have our squares in place, we're going to think about where the shading is on the shirt. We have a little bit of shading from the top down. And here. And then along where the shirt kind of tucks in behind the jacket, we'll want a little shading. Alongside one of the sides of the center button down area. And then of course we need shading under his cute little belly. So we're just going to pull that upward. So now he looks a little bit more rounded. His belly is more concave. Make sure that when you put in this center section, the little stripe with the buttons, make sure it has a slight curve to it. If it's really straight up and down, it will lose the illusion of his little pot belly. And then if you want to create more of an illusion for the plaid, you can come along here and start burning some lines on either side of your squares. And it will transform it into a little bit more of a plaid looking. If you want, you can add a couple lines this way. You don't have to. Just something to give it more interest there. So yeah, the plaid is really not, it can be very, very complicated depending on the plaid. But if you want the simplest plaid possible, burn the squares and then add just a little bit of lines on either side of the squares and you're good to go. And then you have a neat little plaid shirt. Alrighty. So let's see, I like adding in kind of a little highlighted area around the jean like that. You can even do stitch work. This project is a little bit small for that, I think, to do stitches, so we'll just do a little kind of a white or a lighter border, and that'll make his jean jacket look pretty cute. And we'll give him some pocketses as well. Awesome, Jenny. I'm sorry, Jenny. That is fantastic. Thank you so much. It is fantastic that you're getting into whip burning. And I said that right. It's Jenny, correct? I know sometimes I glance at the chat pretty quickly and I saw the last name started with a G and I thought, yeah. All right, we are still putting in some of our lighter lines here. And I think I want some fanciness around this pocket too. You don't have to put in these extra lines if you don't want to. I think it's pretty cute. Well, I forgot shadows under the buttons. So sometimes you can put a little crescent underneath the buttons and that makes them look a little 3D or kind of raised a bit. I'm jumping around a little bit here. All right, and then we'll put in a crescent. Just a little U shape underneath the bottom of those buttons. Okay. Some light outlines on the rest of what we see in the pattern. Cynthia, I'm on full heat right now with the Versatool. this project is pretty small, it would be helpful to turn it down. Holding my breath. This is a little small. What temperature am I on? It is the Versatool has this right here, and I'm on the highest temperature setting with the Versatool. But I'm definitely moving it pretty quickly. Mina, the size is 5 by 7 inches. So the usable surface area is a little bit less than that because it has a beveled edge, but generally 5 by 7. Hi, Terry. Okay. All right, so we can even just keep it a very simple jacket for right now, and we'll keep moving on and putting in some of the more details of the belt. We're actually doing pretty good on time here. It's got a little tiny pig belt buckle, which is cute. All right, so the same thing, I'm going to shade kind of just right in the middle and leave a light spot at the top and the bottom. I like that for belts and straps. Gives a neat illusion. Whew. Okay. We can kind of do the same thing here. Okay, so with belts or anything metallic, you want to leave only the brightest stuff kind of unburned. So it makes a little bit of a shiny highlight. Okay, let's take a look at the pants. The pig in pants. There it is. Kind of driving me crazy with it all crooked. So let's fix it. So I'm kind of jumping around here a little bit as far as adding, you know, we did a little bit of shading on the hat, a little bit of kind of introduction to wildlife. Just make sure that you try to match the directions, the different directions of the fur. You don't even have to put all this in. You can just add a little bit of darkness in his ears, color his nose and eyes, and you're looking pretty good. Thanks, Terry. He is definitely a cute little piglet. Alrighty. So really just focusing on some of the line work for now. Doesn't have to be super fancy. If all you do is the line work on this picture, he is still going to be adorable. Okay, there we have pants. Next are the adorable little cowboy boots. We have another little white kind of stripe there. And little toe creases. Those are cute. We have a interesting little design. I'm not sure what the designs are on the cowboy boots. If they have a special name or what. They almost look like flames or wings. A leathersmith would probably know. Barbara, the little things on the side of the boots is to pull on. Yes. I was wondering about the little design right here. The flower, they're really flowers, but flames or wings. I'm not sure. A lot of cowboy boots have those intricate little designs here. And the toe creases. Bloop, bloop. All right, so let's take a little step back and take a look at Mr. Piglet. Let's see. He's pretty cute. Lisa, I'm constantly amazed at your ability to get fine details in such small pictures. Oh, you've not burned anything smaller than 8 by 11. That is a good size, though. I really like that. A lot of times I just have these ones sitting around and they're already sanded. I was running a little bit late today and didn't have time to sand anything. But yeah, the Versatool is very, very fine. You can get a lot of neat details in there. Thanks, Mina. Yep, reminder to hit the like and subscribe button if you haven't done so already. Barbara, yeah, no, you're good. You are all good. Okay, so just looking, let's go ahead and add some shading on the jacket. So I'll zoom back in, and if at the very end, if I have time, I bet I will, I'll do some reworking on Piglet himself, because I kind of need to turn the burner down. Anytime I have those light subjects, it's just kind of a challenge to get nice shading without turning the burner down. All right. Hi, Vivian. Oh, I hope Popcorn's doing okay. So I'm going to think about where my shadows are and just kind of put those in first. So we have shadows kind of along the edges of the jacket. We have shadows inside the jacket where it tucks in. We have shadows in the little crease of the arm that kind of come up and over. Pull those outward for a rounded appearance. We have shadows under the cuff and where the arm tucks in the jacket. So this is just like super simple lighter shading. Have a little bit of shading back over here. You'll see a touch under the patches. And then you can come over here and do the same thing. Oh, I forgot. He needs a little shading right there. Oh, good, Vivian. Glad to hear. Okay, and then we have shading on the jacket as it comes out from under the scarf, and then under the lapel. See there, I'm shading everything now. I just can't stop. All right, more shading in the crease of this arm and where the elbow fabric kind of joins the arm crease, armpit, whatever you want to call it. His little arm needs some shading. And this area right in here. And then we can go underneath the pocket and the flap. Pull this shading down. And a little back behind there. Okay, so there's just a touch of really light shading in there. Now we can expand on that a little. I want to make sure that I don't burn over those cute little lines in there. For a rounded aspect, we pull those edges in. And let's see, we have some more shading down here. And blend it. His jacket almost is kind of taking on more of a leather type appearance, but that's okay. He's a cool piglet. Okay, we have more shadows from here over. Want to bring in a little shading from the outer edge. We don't really see that on here, but I think it will just make a more three-dimensional appearance. He kind of jumps off the wood a little bit more. And let's see, we're just putting in some vertical shading so it doesn't look empty. That is one cool piglet. Okay, I think we need some more shading on the scarf under the chin area. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. Let's readjust. And carry on. This is another reason that I really love the Versatool, is it is really helpful to get into these tiny areas. the spoon shader that we were working with the other night, I would have a very hard time getting these details in with such a large point. So, but kind of experiment, see which one, which points work best for you, because I know not everybody likes the versatile and the shading point like I do. So if you're a beginner here, don't feel like that this is the only tool that you can use. There's a lot of different tools out there, a nice variety, lots of different points. Just find one that you can control really well, especially in some tighter areas. And don't forget to experiment with new points and just see really what works best for you. And you may not be able to find a point that works perfectly in every case. You may have to kind of pick and choose and see which one is best for you. He is headed to town, Cynthia, absolutely. So I want to leave some highlights in the fabric just a little bit. Just kind of go back and forth, throw in a little horizontal fabric there. And we need more shading on this side. So I just kind of try to find the darkest areas and put those in first. And we're cruising right along here. We're not taking a whole lot of time or being very precise. I'm just throwing in some of the dark values here for the folds of the jeans. And then we'll go back over and add a touch of shading here and there, but still leave some of those white highlights peeking through. And we want to shade as that jean fabric goes down into the boot. So now we have a little bit of depth. I also want to shade and pull in the darkness at the edges of the jacket and under the jacket. That will make the pants, make him look more three-dimensional as well, as we have some shadows under those jackets. The jackets is and the pockets is, I think it's Schmiegel. Okay, and then I'm going to make his legs rounded by pulling in some shading from the outer edges. Like that. Okay, on to the boots once I get this put in here. Okay. Once again, focusing on where the darkest areas are, just putting in some shadows there. We have a shadow underneath here. And you can even think of a shadow as like maybe a boulder line. We'll go right along the very bottom of the boot. I want to leave a little bit of highlight in there. Burn around some negative space of that line. Next, I'm just going to shade kind of the center part of these bootstraps so that they look kind of more 3D. I'm gonna add a shadow under there. Okay. Next, I'm going to start burning the boot kind of in between and around that pattern. Night Owl, you want to watch Lord of the Rings again? Those are some amazing shows, aren't they? Our family, we can't hardly say the word pocket without turning it into pocketses, because it's just fun. Hi there, what are you doing? Okay, we have a little shading kind of here on the inside of the foot. And up here. You too, Barbara. Vivian, the pants look like real denim jeans. Thanks. Yeah, even though he's cartoonish, we just really want to focus on the main elements of the, the dark folds, and then some highlights here and there. I could have probably left some more highlights in, but I kind of got a little carried away with the shading, but that's okay. Little shading down here across the boot crease. That's a little bit rough shading, but I think it works. Next, we can just put in some make-believe inner details to our wispy flame thing. And then to make it look more raised, just add a touch more shadow here and there. And it'll make it look kind of more 3D. Touch of shading on the upper part of the boot. And we'll round this off a little too. Okay, his foot looks a little funny, but he's a pig, so we do what we can with what we have. Alrighty, next we'll move on. I want another little shadow behind the bootstrap and along the seam. Definitely the sole of the boot. That wood texture's getting me. That, I thought so too, Barbara. I think he does look like he's got his boots on the wrong feet. Although the seam for the cowboy boots is on the inside, like it's supposed to, but it does look like his boots are on the wrong feet a little bit. I thought the very same thing. Night Owl. He has a permit. Oh, that'd be cute. Yeah, he's a cute piglet. Shadow under here, and we'll burn around our design. Ah, yeah, Lisa, they could be too big too. Pigs have I don't know, chunky feet. So he's got chunky little boots. I love that they're like thigh-high cowboy boots for him. That's so cute because they have such stubby little legs anyway. His boots look way too big. Maybe he's wearing his dad's boots. That would make sense. He's got big boots to fill. Alrighty, another little shadow under there. We'll add some creative floral scripty elements in there, and then extra shadows. Okay, this needs to be shaded just a little. And we got to pull some of the roundedness across the boot. Like so. And soften that down just a little. Oh, that's fun, guys. Okay, I am going to turn the burner down now because, yeah, we have time to work on Piglet's face. And I'm going to turn it down to where the orange meets the red. That usually gives me some nice control for those lighter areas. But, I mean, we've only been burning for about an hour and he's just about done. I need to start cranking these out for a craft fair. So, oh, he is adorable, guys. One thing that I really wanted to capture with this piece is the boldness of his clothes. So I really pushed my values dark. I wasn't hesitant at all. A lot of times I try to build up my darks over time if I'm working with realism. With this more cartoonish, cute style, I really wanted to push the bold shadows on this. So I jumped right in there. You guys saw me. I put in those shadows right away. And another thing that really helped to create that, that bold aspect of the clothing, I think, was also using the mini flow point to outline our key areas. So that helped as well. Awesome. Yes. If you are on Mighty Networks, our paid platform, this is a beginner project. So all the members there get this project for free. You get the pattern for free, and then you'll have access to this live stream whenever you choose to watch it at your convenience. And then if you're not on Mighty Networks, Mina put a link in there to the pattern. So the pattern is on Wood Burning University. If you just want to go ahead and get that pattern and try it out for yourself, and you don't want to go through the paid platform, that's totally fine as well. So I am going to let the burner cool down just a smidge, and I will rework Piglet. I'm probably going to have to trim the wood a little bit here and there. I also want to darken up underneath his hat, and I can probably do that a little bit right now while the burner is cooling. This sometimes helps to pull the heat out of the burner if you're waiting for it to get cooler. Just start burning in some darker areas. It is a fun project, Barbara. I agree. Terry's thinking corn stalks in the background. Aw, you could really put all kinds of stuff back there. Okay. So I'm going to go back over his chubby little cheeks and try to get some softer shading in here. Estella, you're really enjoying this project. Awesome. You're wondering if we can do the mourning dove or pigeon next month, and then after that the leather, because those were our other two options. that is totally fine if that's what you guys want to do. You are the boss here as far as what projects you want to see, and sure, it's up to you guys. So I'm going to go back and add a little more shading around his snout, kind of above the little blowholes there. And a little more underneath. You guys know me, I just can't let it go. I have to add more shading. Just make it nice and soft. And then I could probably go back and add a touch of white highlight because I am kind of taking out some of his highlights here. Another thing we could try is maybe sanding out some highlights, and I can try that here in just a minute if you want to see that. And remember to get that really smooth shading appearance when using the shading point. Burn however way you want and then offset slightly one way and then the other, and that'll help to create a really nice smooth shading. Keep your strokes nice and tight together as well. Teton, that Barbara, that would be neat to put the fence and Tetons in the distance. Oh, that'd be cool. Yeah, that's a beautiful place. Bring some of this up and over. Pistol Pete, the latest patron of the $1 Million Cowboy Bar. Oh, that's great. I've been there. Okay. Flip this guy back around. Alrighty, that's looking pretty cute. His face is a little bit flat, so I am going to go ahead and put in some more values here. Make his face look more rounded by shading around the edges. So that's helping a little. And then we need some darker values up underneath the hat. Although my burner is not very hot, so I'm going to put some little U-shaped shading along the ears. pull in the edges as well. Oh, he could be a little sheriff. He just needs a badge. All right, so now he's starting to get a little bit more form to him. He was a little flat. Let's see, we also need more shading here with the ear. So I did leave a little bit more highlight up here, kind of across the bridge of his, or top part of his head. I'm going to turn the burner back up to full heat for some of the other shadows on him. And while that is warming up, I think his chin is a little flat. So we're going to make it more rounded by adding a slight gradient along the bottom edge. Thanks, Laura. He is adorable. I gotta touch up his little chin. Okay. All right, we're going to kind of accentuate the shadows in his ears more. Thanks, Terry. Thanks, Mina. Those dark values are going to push backwards, the lights will pull forward, and then we get the nice illusion of depth. I think I need to turn this just a little bit to get in that ear. Okay, and then our burner's getting warm, so we'll try to get the shadow in underneath the hat as well. And then we're looking pretty good here. I'm going to pull some shadows in from the outer edge of this ear as well. Thanks, guys, very much. I appreciate that. It's fun, I think, to take a project pattern like there are so many on Wood Burning University. There's almost 500 patterns. And I want to create all of them, and they seem so fun. But I love that you can give the same reference material to 20 different artists, and you will get 20 different results. I think it's just fantastic what people see and kind of pick and choose out of the different projects. I forgot something very important, guys. We have a levitating piglet. So he is hereby grounded. He can no longer levitate. We need to give him some shadows under his feet. I thought about that when I was drawing the reference photo on, and then I completely forgot. No floating piglets. So just a touch of shading here will kind of anchor him to the ground so he doesn't look like he's floating away. And in the darker areas where the boots are kind of making a little cave, that's where you're going to want a little more shading there. And then we have the toes of the boots kind of overhang, so it'll be darker down here, and then it fades out just a little bit. Like that. Okay, let's take another look at Mr. Piglet. And we can do this as well. Okay, so I think my overall plan turned out pretty good. I'm glad that I did not do a heavy outline around his face and head. I think that would have been too much and not as natural. I mean, it's a cartoon pig wearing pants, and it does not have to be realistic, but I think just softening up his face and head was the right way to go. And then relying on more heavy outlines for the clothing, and it just gives it more of a cartoony, fun overall feel. Awesome. Thanks, guys. Well, I think that we are pretty well done with this project. Oh, I think I was going to add some white for everybody. So I have a white colored pencil. If all we do is just come in here and gently add some white for the highlights, that will be pretty cool. I'm going to put in that eye highlight here and there. So the one thing that I really love about adding white colored pencil is wherever you've gone over the wood with a burner, you'll see that even though the burner doesn't really leave a mark, it kind of burnishes and seals the wood. So when you come back over with a colored pencil, it's not going to go over that area. It'll go around it. So all of a sudden your shading gets a whole lot more, like it has more depth to it, if that makes sense, especially when dealing with fur. Give them a little highlight up on that nose. And let's see, I can highlight the hat. I don't know if I have any other pencils. That one might be a little bit sharper, I don't know. Not really. Yes, the shading definitely gets more noticeable, Terry, you're right. And let's see, we can add a little bit here. There. And this will make the whole project really just come alive. How about this? I need my handy dandy pencil sharpener. Come on. That needs two hands. This is on my Amazon store if you don't have a really cool pencil sharpener. This makes for a nice, very fine tip, which is really cool. Highlight the little hairs at the front of his ears. Ooh, I like that. I'll come back to that. While I have a really sharp pencil, I want to get in some of these tiny areas. So we have highlights on the buttons. And that little highlight on the belt buckle, I like that. Do some bandana and his little white pinstriping here. Oh, that's fun. Barbara says, that's it. You have to do a wood burning of Bernie Bear standing up. Oh, that would be super cute. So I'm just kind of picking and choosing some of the areas that I want to highlight, just for a little, just to accentuate here and there. Give a little highlight to the boot down there, and maybe a touch across here. We'll give him shiny boots. We can make his belly look a little bit more rounded by making it highlighted right in the middle. All right, guys, he is super, super cute. Highlight his sleeves. That one I think went a little bit too much on the highlight, and I know we had that wonderful, where was it, tip as far as using an eraser to take off colored pencil to tone that down. That's better. That was just a little bit too bright. So simple eraser, well, these are really good drawing erasers. Can take your colored pencil and tone it down just a little bit, which is nice. Okay, so we're talking about the little hairs. Are we talking right here or at the tip? The white makes a huge, huge difference. Just try to remember that if you decide to add colored pencil, make sure that you're done burning first so that you don't burn over any colors, stains, dyes, pigments, finishes, or anything else that might give off potentially toxic fumes. The curled, the front, is that like right here? And you can add the colored pencil in layers. The more that you press down, the bolder it will be. But you can build it up certainly in layers. I kind of overshaded his cheeks so I can regain some of that. Okay. So I think we can get maybe a couple of them in there. And maybe just a touch on the center of his little headband. Okay, guys, let's take a look here. So in a matter of just a few minutes, we really transformed this piece from what it was to just another level. White color pencil is so much fun to add. I think it complements wood burning really, really well and makes a significant difference. Now, if you want to clear coat a project that has colored pencil, if you choose a brush-on finish, you can do that, but that first time that you put the first coat on, try to minimize all brush strokes. Lay that clear coat on the wood and leave it alone. The more you play with it and brush it, the colored pencil will lift and bleed. So if you're a little bit unsure on a finish and you don't want to risk the colors bleeding or swiping with the brush, do a spray-on finish instead. I like polyacrylic. It's water-based. It's easy to clean up. It comes in different finishes. You got your gloss, your semi-gloss, and your matte finishes. So definitely play around with that if you want. Generally, anything that I add color to, I'll just go ahead and clear coat because I can't really touch it up and burn it again later. Some of my more professional pieces, I will not clear coat them, but I don't add color either. And then I can go back and kind of touch them up later down the road if the client wants. Alrighty, I think we're there, guys. So thanks so much for being here tonight. I hope you had as much fun as I did. This little fellow is fantastic and super, super cute. Don't forget to get your pattern over on Wood Burning University and join on Mighty Networks if you want to see more stuff like this. Alrighty, thanks again, and I will see you on Friday. We will continue working on our floral kitty. Alrighty, good night, guys. Bye.